Assalamu alaikum. Embrace the best. Connecting medicine, arts, astronomy, and consciousness to see the bigger picture. The study of man as an integrated unit and of the ecosystems in which he functions is grossly neglected. A very different kind of knowledge is needed to understand the nature of the cohesive forces which maintain man in an integrated state, physically, psychologically, and socially, and enable him to relate successfully to his environment. Part of the indigenous culture is storytelling, all of those which explain how the world came to be the way it is across time and space dimensions. In this talk, we will travel back in time to revisit the history of humanity from a native perspective, in a trial to recover enough cognitive function to correct the mainstream message that our modern world has created. The awe-inspiring colored picture of galaxies taken by James Webb Telescope has shifted the global consciousness to the wonders of the vast universe. Indeed, there is a pattern to the universe and everything in it. However, there are also knowledge systems and traditions that follow specific cosmic hues patterns. People of antiquity adopted a cyclic view of time, rooted in rhythmic cosmological events, which accounted for consistent measurements across disconnected cultures. These patterns were thought to keep an earthbound temporal orientation in constant check. For example, the Dogon tribe inhabitants of Mali in Africa, an area 2,000 miles from Egypt, described as primitive indigenous people with a characteristic folklore dance performed every 60 years. During these celebrations, the Dogon's knowledge is passed on to future generations, but there is supposedly secret information regarding their knowledge that has not left the tribe. But what kind of secret knowledge? Amazingly, it is an advanced astronomical knowledge on Sirius star system. Not only Sirius A, which is visible by the naked eye, but its accompanying dwarf Sirius B, which was not discovered until the 1950s with an advanced telescope. According to Robert Temple in his book Mystery of Sirius, the Dogons' astonishing astronomical knowledge must have reached them from the ancient Egyptians, and the investigation in this secret should be sought in the history of ancient Egypt. Although it might be tempting to think that the only reason for its great popularity was that it was the brightest star in the sky, there is much more to Sirius. Thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, a culture that watched the sky carefully suggested that pyramids and other marvels of the ancient world are actually relics of a forgotten and technologically advanced ancient civilization. Pyramids were not just monuments or built in isolation from each other as was thought. Rather, it's part of a major engineering plan based on creedal religious background and geometric and survey considerations with very accurate and precise knowledge of astronomy conditions. Recently, astronomers have also used computers to determine the past positions of many stars. This made it easy for them to confirm the idea that the pyramids aligned with the Orion belt some 10,000 years ago. It's also strange that the pyramids of Mexico and China follow the Orion belt as well. Anyone can prove it now quite easily by Google Earth and Sky Globe applications. The pyramids of Mexico and China dates back to the same period, from 10 to 12,000 years BC. This raises many questions: the relation between ancient civilizations, the level of coordination that has taken place between ancient Egyptian, Mexican, and Peruvian civilizations, in addition to the similarity between Egypt and these two South American countries in terms of the pyramids, such as the shape of the building. The similarity goes beyond that to the symbols and meanings behind these edifices, with clarity and logic. The Orion correlation theory in alternative Egyptology claims an intended pre-planned mission by builders of the pyramids. Our indigenous ancestors created unique monuments, calendars, and observatories, energy machines, and the list only grows as more discoveries are carried out. The question is, what did our great ancestors try to show us by their unbelievably coordinated and harmonious societal, planetary, and astronomical connections across time and space? I came to admire the wisdom of ancient knowledge only with great difficulty, but something shifted during my educational journey in history, and the ancient Egyptian literature became a series of interest. I found many affirmations for brilliant discoveries related to all fields of science humanity has ever known. This includes the evidence of the concept of integrating knowledge. For example, ancient Egyptian physicians integrated medicine with many other disciplines such as ethics, law, anthropology, and sociology, addressing the mind, body, and soul in healing practices. Thus, health and illnesses were seen as manifestations of each person's relationship with the universe around them. On the world's Indigenous Peoples Day, we need to remind ourselves and others that each indigenous culture is a branch of a tree, a repository of knowledge, and a source of inspiration and promise for the future. It was not a mere coincidence that the pyramids aligned on Orion's belt in the sky. It's about a very special way of thinking that signifies the sense of meaning, purpose, and connectedness in order to create a coherent view of the whole world for which we owe our ancestors great debt. The time has come to rescue knowledge as it is in the traditional societies, and we must admit that the science today is operating on partial knowledge. As a community of scientists and health advocates, I propose that it's our duty to ensure that the holistic perspectives are plugged more firmly into the equation, bringing attention to the wealth of ancient views of health. Finally, I hope that through this webinar we can reconnect with the essence of indigenous knowledge, honor traditions, and stimulate a range of research ideas and inspirations that help us make better sense of the world we live in. Thank you.